Well, okay, I am going to begin this sermonette with a video. It was a video that I came across that, to be honest with you, I was quite impressed with. And I had a different sermonette ready to go, but when I saw this, I had to revamp everything. So when you're ready, Dave.
Do you feel like life has a purpose?
I do.
I think so. I'm here to make people happy and smile.
Educate and entertain. To marry my woman.
Being a mother to my 2 children.
Different times in your life, you have different purposes.
Spiritually, emotionally.
Personal, professional.
I think I'm still trying to figure that out, my purpose.
My challenge sometimes can be figuring out which one I want to care about most today.
I'm only 14, so I don't really know what my purpose is at the moment.
Still looking now.
I think most people equate their purpose to monetary ambitions.
There's something deeper than, what kind of car you drive and how nice you look.
I love to inspire, motivate, and encourage people.
Whenever I can, to be a mentor.
Being available to help someone in their journey.
Because I feel like there are a lot of people in this world that are lost and don't have anyone there for them.
The purpose of your life is sort of defined by your actions and by the manner in which you've lived.
I'm here to help inspire other people to live life to their fullest.
Like, I'm meant to be nice with everyone.
Open a world to empathy.
At this point in my life, I'm feeling like, who knows? And as I'm getting older, I'm definitely trying to figure out more and more.
Because there are many people whose career, how they make a living, where their passion is, and what they're good at is actually their job.
I feel like I have a purpose in life because I just want to keep on moving forward.
Always learning, growing.
I think it's just that journey and the curiosity about life.
Do what you're passionate about. Don't just get caught up in that sort of, hamster wheel of getting by.
I really love animals, writing, just storytelling.
To share my gifts and talents with other people.
Figure out how I can live to be at least 110.
Making people laugh and having fun.
I believe my purpose is to have children. And I'm very excited for that.
The purpose of life is to experience it. Enjoy opportunities and also recognize that there's going to be hills and valleys.
Take advantage of being alive.
Exchange as much love as you can while you're here.
To live the best life you can with as most enthusiasm as you can so that other people will benefit by your having lived.
I fully love that last one. But in this video, there's so much that's being said about life. And these are coming from everyday people, but there's a lot that they're saying within their quotes. So what I'd like to do is begin with a definition of purpose. And I use the Black's Law Dictionary, because that's a dictionary I use a lot. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with legal papers and things in courts, you'll see a word that you think it means a certain thing. But in legal terms, it does not. It says something else. And in this particular case, it says, that which one sets before oneself to accomplish an end, intention, or aim, object, plan, or protect. But the key thing there is that which one sets before oneself to accomplish. And I want you to kind of keep that in the back of your mind. There's 3 quotes I'm going to go through. And I'll start with quote 1, where this individual stated, the purpose of your life is defined by your actions and by the manner in which you live. There is a lot of truth in that, because people judge you every day. If you're a decent and honest person, they'll say that of you. Or if you're a person that has some wisdom about certain matters, they'll say, you need to go talk to that guy. Or you need to go talk to that individual, because they'll steer you in the right way, because they know and understand a lot of these things. If you're a clown, a bad actor, that will follow you. And people will say, you don't want to go near that clown whatsoever. But there is a verse that it backs this up, and it's in Proverbs 1, verses 32 and 33, and in this particular translation, what that is, that's the New International Reader's Version. And I like what this says. It says, childish people go down the wrong path. They will die. Foolish people are satisfied with the way they live. They will be destroyed. But those who listen to me will live in safety. They will not worry. They won't be afraid of getting hurt. Now, in some translation, the word hurt is harmed. So as you can see, God's word here is defining exactly what quote 1 is saying. The purpose of your life is defined by actions and by the manner in which you live. If you're a childish individual, that's how you're going to be viewed. If you're foolish, that's exactly how you're going to be viewed. But if you're one that follows God's way of life, that is something that stands out. That is something that people truly recognize, and they'll know you by that because you're different. And then as we go to quote 2, it says the purpose of life is to experience it and to enjoy opportunities and also recognize there's going to be hills and valleys. Now most of us in here who are older do understand that as we go through life, there's good times and there's bad times. I personally have experienced that, and in my lifetime I have been fired from 4 jobs. But the job that came afterwards was far better until I finally ended up in the last one, which is a business of mine, and I contract my services. And the career has been good. But when there was time for a change down in the valley, it happened. But it says the purpose is to enjoy the opportunities, and the opportunities were there. The greater ones came after the bad ones, which is good. And then in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 12 and 13, this is the Good News Bible, it states, "So, I realize that all we can do is be happy and do the best we can while we are still alive. All of us should eat and drink and enjoy what we have worked for. It is God's gift." Now I have a little story to tell here, and it involves my daughter. My daughter worked very hard for her accounting degree. She landed an excellent job, and she has a very good salary. Well, one day she was talking to Mom and Dad and saying she wanted to buy a Lexus, but she was kind of embarrassed. She thought that that would be like, being something she isn't. But my wife and I, we sat down and said, "Rachel, you have worked hard for this. You worked hard to get your degree. You've worked hard at the business that you're in and the company you're in. You deserve it. Enjoy it." And of course she did, which was good. But she learned there was a lesson there, which is saying right here, all of us should eat and drink and enjoy what we have worked for. That is something that I do. I've worked hard throughout my life, still am working hard, and I enjoy the benefits of it. In a proper way, of course. I mean, it has to be within God's way of doing things instead of being some pompous so-and-so. There is a right way to do it. And I'm going to move on to quote 3. This is the one that I truly, really love. It says, "To live the best life you can with most enthusiasm as you can, so other people will benefit by you having lived." And I'm going to follow up that with Matthew 5, verse 16 in the NIRV. It says, "In the same way," which is following this quote. People will benefit by you having lived. "In the same way, let your light shine in front of others. Then they will see the good things that you do, and they will praise your Father who is in heaven." Now that goes back to that first quote. We as God's people are different. We live a very different life. As a matter of fact, I have a new neighbor that lives next door to me. And they have noticed, of course, I've helped him with many things, and we're friendly, and he wanted to cut some bushes that were from my property hangers. I said, "Do whatever you want, that's fine." But the one thing that they've noticed is Saturday. They said, "Kind of see you go all dressed up and, And you go this, and so I said, yes. I said, that's the Sabbath. That's the day we keep. I said, that's why you see this. And they had a lot of questions about that because they're so-so as far as church going goes. But it's something that they have taken notice of. But even with the people around us, when they ask us questions and we give them answers, they're good answers. Hopefully they are. But it's just who we are and the way that we live, that it does affect people. Because people will say, oh yeah, I remember. They were great people. Do anything for you. But they kept these strange days. They weren't part of the Easter and Christmas. They had their certain days. And they were very happy and willing to explain them. But see, people remember that. And I can attest to that at where I work. Because when these holidays come by, we have a discussion. Because they'll come and ask me the first thing, what day is this that you're keeping? I had to explain trumpets to them and atonement and the days, the festival of tabernacles. But they listen. But in our office is a First Baptist, Catholic, your evangelist, your non-denominational. But what's interesting is that they listen. And every year they always ask these questions. So it's on their minds. And there's a benefit there because they respect it just as much as I respect them. But it's the opportunity to explain it to them. It's the opportunity to say why I do this. And they understand my devotion to God. They know He is first no matter what. So they don't even ask like when it's Saturdays, can you do this, can you do that? Because the answer is no. They know this. And it's a good example. I mean, even in your neighborhood, you don't decorate your house. You don't have trick-or-treaters coming up to your front door. No, because I don't believe in it. And then give them the explanation why. And it's through that explanation that they understand who you are. And for some reason, they remember it. But I know like in our neighborhood, like when we have a storm comes through and there's damage, they need something like water or whatever, they always come to our house because we freely give it to them. And we say, if there's anything we can do, we most certainly will. Because it's interesting the way neighborhoods are. When you have a disaster like that going on, there's no power and water. Everybody comes outside, everybody's friendly. But when the power comes back, the water's back, what happens? They go back inside, and they're back to their usual bickerings and throwing around, except for one house, my house. Because they know we stay constant in our behavior. Those are things they do not forget. And they know that they can rely on that. Now I want to go back to just a statement of life's purpose, where that definition is that which one sets before oneself to accomplish an end, intention, or aim, object, plan, or protect. And below it, it says, what is your purpose in life? Now we have many purposes, like a career, an education, marriage, and things like that to hopefully be successful at it. But there's one in particular. And if you go to Ecclesiastes 12:13, the NIRV again, it states this: everything has now been heard. Those of you that have lived many years, well, I'll say from 50 on, so we'll keep Chuck in the picture, that we have heard many things, we have seen many things, we have experienced many things where we can tell younger people, don't go that way. Because if you do, this is what's going to happen. You can count on it. And then he goes on to say, and here's the final thing I want to say. And I love the way that this is put. Have respect for God and obey His commandments. That's what everyone should do. That should be your number one purpose in life. Mine didn't begin until I was 23. It's pretty wild before then. But it's have respect for God. Because in other translations, they don't say it that way. I mean, it's fear God. That's normally what you see. But I love the impact and the force of have respect for God. That word respect is a big word. Because as you use it, in respecting people, your children, and all this and that. And out of that respect, of course, you're going to keep His commandments. Because that's what we should be doing. So I'm asking you that possibly you may want to kind of look at your life and see what you purposed in your life. And that question I'm going to leave you with. Who is number one?